Welcome to the Wednesday, December 16th, 2020 edition of the Bobby Hesley Show. It's going to be a relatively short show today, guys, for a number of reasons. Number one, I had a very busy day today. Working all day today, cranking the main biz, killing it in the private sector. Life goes on, guys. We've done everything that we can do. We have voted. We have argued with people on Facebook. We have campaigned for Donald Trump. We have spoken out against Joe Biden. We have warned the public about Kamala Harris. We have marched. We have rallied. We have signed sworn affidavits that carry criminal penalties, if not true, of up to 5 years in prison and steep civil fines. We have educated and informed and researched and argued. What more can we do, guys? We've prayed. We've marched twice. We've gone to Washington, D.C. Millions of people combined with all the marches. All we can do is pray and wait, guys. There are some very key dates. Now, I have to be careful because I'm also streaming on YouTube right now. As you know, Big Tech made a crackdown. I've actually got a little something about Big Tech. It's funny how they don't like it when it's both ways, but I'll get into that. But if you haven't done so yet, guys, please like, comment on this video, share it. Really helps me with the algorithms. And if you have not done so, please also subscribe to all of my social media channels, particularly my YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow it. So I'm not going to be too long, guys. All I can tell you, it's December 16th. And the best I can tell you guys is we have to pray and wait. Everything is in the hands of President Trump now. And I do think there's some big things coming. That's all I could say. Again, I got to be very limited with what I can say. The one thing I'm not looking forward to, though, is that there's lots of crucial decisions that are going to boil down to some rhino Republicans. You guys have to realize Donald Trump has given the rhinos, for those of you that are newer to political speak, rhinos stands for Republicans in name only. Okay. And these are Republicans who are country club Republicans, blue blood Republicans. They like to make deals on the golf course with Democrats, deals while smoking cigars and drinking whiskey about how they can all enrich themselves. There's corruption in the Republican Party too, guys. And Mitch McConnell has all but conceded today. And I feel like he's throwing his marker down to try to get other Republicans to concede. But just because he conceded doesn't mean that Trump did. And that's all I'll say on that. So stay tuned, guys. There's not a whole lot of updates I can give you right now. I'm waiting for things to come out just like you do. And as they come out, I will analyze. Now, I wanted to do a little show to continue to expose the hypocrisy of the left. Now, for those of you that have been following me for a reasonable amount of time, you all know that I believe that there are four corners of deception that rule America. They're called the four corners of deception. Corner of deception number one is government. Corner of deception number two is academia. Corner of deception number three is science. And when I say science, I put that in quotes, fake science. But corner number four of deception is media. Now, when I say media, I'm not just talking about your local news that you turn on. I'm not just talking about newspapers. I'm not just talking about online blogs. I'm not even just talking about social media. Big tech. Look who's in the house. The Batman of Brightmoor is in his house. Follow my boy, Jonathan Palmerville, especially if you're from Detroit. You cannot dump in the city of Detroit. If you will, the bat signal shall flash across the skies of Detroit, and Jonathan Palmerville, baby, is going to sweep in on you, and you ain't going to dump in the D. There is no dumping in my old neighborhood of Brightmoor. So follow Jonathan Palmerville, guys. John, throw your channel in the comments, bro. Let's promote your channel, man. He does good things in the city of Detroit. But the fourth corner of deception is media. And media also includes Hollywood, guys. Hollywood. Why do you think they call it television programming? Right? Because a lot of what comes out of our TVs is designed to program our minds. It's designed to get us to think in certain ways with subliminal messaging that bring down our guard because of the cool music, the cool sound effects, the cool special effects, the emotional plot. All those things bring our guard down. They increase our dopamine receptors, which is kind of a bad combination, guys. When your inhibitions are lowered and when your dopamine receptors are simultaneously heightened, which is what happens when you consume engaging television content, you are susceptible to whatever subliminal messaging, whatever subconscious programming, which is why it's called programming, is coming out from that TV box or that flat screen. This is one of the reasons why Hollywood is called Hollywood. A few videos ago, I went into the fact that to the pagan mindset, there were pagans that used to sacrifice. They used to make sacrifices to the holly tree, what they deemed was holy wood, right? But another thing that made this wood holy to them, Hollywood, is that they felt that it was an enchanting wood. They felt like the wood from this tree, if made into a wand or if made into other instruments, could literally cast a spell upon whomever that wood faced, upon whomever that wood fell upon. So that's why it's called Hollywood. Why do you think they call Hollywood the land of enchantment? You ever hear that phrase referred to Hollywood? Hollywood, the land of enchantment. Well, because it's designed to put spells on you. It's designed to get you to think in certain ways. But another thing that Hollywood does is it desensitizes you to the hypocrisy of the movers and shakers in Hollywood. And one of the biggest movers and shakers in Hollywood, that's right, guys. Guys, give me a second here to promote my boy. CameraCrusaders.com. You guys see that in the comments there? I want everybody to go to all my channels, of course, and subscribe. You know, I'm a broken record on that. But I also want you to go to CameraCrusaders.com and follow my man, Jonathan Palmerville, guys. He's got an awesome thing that he does. Okay, CameraCrusaders.com. And if you're catching this in the replay, the comment has popped up and I've linked it in the video. So there's tons of hypocrites out in Hollywood. Tons of them. And some of the biggest hypocrites in Hollywood are some of the oldest people in Hollywood. And one of these major hypocrites, one of these major movers and shakers, one of these $20 to $30 million per pick hypocrites out in Hollywood is Tom Cruise, who was one of my favorite actors. He still is one of my favorite actors, believe it or not. I separate the man from his art. I'm talking about Tom Cruise, the man. I'm not talking about Tom Cruise, the actor. I think Tom Cruise is an incredible actor. I love Tom Cruise. I always have. You're pretty safe when you're watching a Tom Cruise movie. If you're like, you ever go to a movie and you're afraid to be bored, you're never going to fear boredom from a Tom Cruise movie or a Bruce Willis movie or a Denzel Washington movie. But Tom Cruise just spewed some major hypocrisy, guys, because the Hollywood left, these rich Hollywood elites, are all about everything that liberalism stands for, right? And what's one of the main tenets of liberalism is standing up for the little guy, right? Supposedly caring about the working class and the working poor. Well, recently, within the last 24 hours, Tom Cruise had a bit of a conniption fit on the set of his newest Mission Impossible movie that he's filming. This is going to be Mission Impossible Part 7, which is due for release in the year 2021. And in classic Christian Bale fashion, you guys remember the epic Christian Bale rant years ago when he was filming Terminator Salvation? And somebody was filming and they had their camera rolling and he absolutely exploded and abused his employees. And the same thing happened with Tom Cruise, okay? This guy is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, right? He's one of Hollywood's most famous actors, one of the legends of Hollywood, okay? And this guy is lockstep with the left. He is. He went on Oprah's couch. Him and Oprah's are buddies. Only a buddy of Oprah could jump on one of her expensive couches like he did back in 2005 when he fell in love with Katie Holmes and publicly declared his love for her before she ended up leaving him years later because of his controlling narcissistic behavior. And I'm actually going to play. Your man Bobby Hesley is actually going to roll the footage of Tom Cruise blowing up at his employees. Now, thankfully, there's some bleeps in there. So if you got some youngins in the room, you still might want to shoo them out so that you don't have to have any premature conversations with them when they walk up to you and say, "Mommy, what does bleep mean?" So I'm going to roll that for you guys. And what I want you to think about is that this is coming from the mouth of somebody who's on the Hollywood left, someone who claims to care about the little guys. So if you haven't heard the audio yourself, let's take a listen.
They're back there in Hollywood making movies right now because of us. Because they believe in us and what we're doing. I'm on the phone with every studio at night. Insurance companies. Producers. And they're looking at us and using us to make their movies. We are creating thousands of jobs. I don't ever want to see it again. Ever. And if you don't do it, you're fired. And I see you do it again, you're gone. And anyone on this crew does it. That's it. And you too, and you too, and you. Don't you ever do it again. That's it. No apologies. You can tell it to the people that are losing their homes because our industry is shut down. It's not going to put food on their table or pay for their college education. That's what I sleep with every night. The future of the industry. So I'm sorry, I'm beyond your apologies. I have told you, and now I want it. And if you don't do it, you're out. We are not shutting this movie down. Is it understood? If I see it again, you're gone. And so are you. So you're going to cost him his job. And I see it on the set, you're gone. And you're gone. That's it. Am I clear? Do you understand what I want? Do you understand the responsibility that you have? Because I will deal with your reason. And if you can't be reasonable, and I can't deal with your logic, you're fired. That's it. That is it. I trust you guys to be here.
Man, I thought these Hollywood liberals cared for the poor. You guys got to realize California is a mini Europe. And what do I mean by that? Well, what's one of the distinguishing characteristics of Europe? It's always been one of the distinguishing characteristics of Europe, even back to the days of the aristocracy. Europe has no middle class, folks. There is no middle class in Europe. And that's where we're headed as a country, by the way. We've been headed there for decades. Ever since Nixon, who was a Republican, took the dollar off the gold standard in 1970, ever since the U.S. dollar stopped being backed by gold, we have been headed towards being a European nation for the last, what would that be, 50 years. Inflation is the largest tax. So ever since the government has basically been backing money by the faith and credit of the United States, we've been headed towards there being no middle class. But in California, you're either an A-list actor who makes millions of dollars and has the world at your fingertips, or you're working on the set in Hollywood. You're a struggling actor that's going to all these auditions every day, and you're bussing and waiting tables in the meantime. You're working crappy jobs, and your dreams are hopefully going to work out one day, and you're going to make it in Hollywood, hopefully, right? Well, Tom Cruise basically just went off on his entire film crew during the filming of Mission Impossible 7. And apparently the story goes that they were not observing social distancing rules. I don't know if they were failing to wear masks. I don't know if they were not staying 6 feet apart, which I don't see how you can do in a movie. It's going to be pretty hard to observe all that. And obviously they fell short of that. And Tom Cruise went absolutely ape nuts on these people. Because he's the nicest, most bleeding heart liberal there is. When he's got photo ops, when he knows that the cameras are rolling, when he's doing interviews, when he's supposedly interacting with his fans. But if you mess with his money, ooh. What did Big Worm used to say on Friday? Come on, Smokey. When you playing with my money, you playing with my emotions. And that's basically what Tom Cruise did. These people for whatever reason, and you got to realize they're in California, so they're in the liberal capital of the world pretty much. Home of Kamala Harris, by the way, who still has not given up her Senate seat yet. Even though everything's been certified, she still has not given up her Senate seat yet. That's a record. I'm just saying. But they're in the home of California. And in California, I mean, you don't wear your mask in California, you get the chair. I know California's full of liberals, and they all, and like all liberals, they hate the death penalty. Well, one thing you'll get the death penalty for in California is if you don't wear your mask or if you don't stay 6 feet apart. They will crack down on you, just like Tom Cruise did. Now, how does that make Tom Cruise a hypocrite? Well, what if I could show you some footage of Tom Cruise, being in opposition to wearing a mask? I'm going to roll some footage, guys. Me being the cinephile that I am, which is a fancy word for saying a movie buff. Cine, movie, file, P-H-I-L-E means lover of movies, lover of cinema. Well, me being the cinephile that Bobby Hesley is, I caught on right away to Tom Cruise's hypocrisy, because I remember there was a time when Tom Cruise was very against wearing masks. And I'm going to show you some footage of Tom Cruise railing against wearing masks. Let's roll the tape.
Tell me. Bring it on.
It's sometimes useful in the early stages of rejection. It's a facial prosthetic. It was 2 weeks in the making. Thank you, Carly.
You're welcome, doctor.
So there's Tom Cruise masks. Okay, these people in the film, they want Brother Cruise to wear a mask. Okay, Tom, put on your mask for us. That's what they're asking him. Let's keep going.
A facial prosthetic.
The aesthetic replacement does work. Emotionally and actually.
And the plastic in the aesthetic shield also blocks out abusive rays and assists in the regeneration of cells.
So it's an aesthetic regenerative shield.
That's correct. Exactly.
And the ergonomics of the plate barrier allows you to interact reflexively with the movements of your own face.
I see.
It's a helpful unit.
Good. Because for a minute there, I thought we were talking about a fucking mask!
It's only a mask if you treat it that way.
Oh, no. It's great. This completely takes care of Halloween. But what about the other 364 days of the year?
So when asked to wear a mask,
It's only a mask.
Because for a
This is
minute
Tom
there,
Cruise's
I thought we were
response.
talking about a fucking mask!
so you see the hypocrisy there, folks. And this was actually from one of Tom Cruise's better movies. I used to love Vanilla Sky. Anybody ever see the movie Vanilla Sky? Tom Cruise, Cameron Diaz, Penelope Cruz, no relation, even though they dated and never married. She's Cruz as in Senator Ted Cruz, like C-R-U-Z. And obviously Tom Cruise. So that's some hypocrisy that I wanted to expose, guys. If you go back on YouTube, watch the footage, and you can see Tom Cruise just explode on the working class, the working poor. This guy's talking about, oh, people are losing their houses. Our industry is shut down. Do you know how far away Tom Cruise is from losing his house? Do you know how many hundreds of millions of dollars? There is an ocean of hundreds of millions of dollars, personal chefs, personal trainers, personal assistants, investment bankers, financial advisors, bodyguards, groupies, accountants. There is an ocean of all these things that is between Tom Cruise and him being anywhere near a situation that all the rest of us find ourselves in, that this pandemic has put us in. And yet all of a sudden, he's the social justice crusader who's standing up on behalf of those that are going by the COVID rules and that are social distancing and wearing their masks. And it's up to him to remind everybody how horrible they are if they fail to observe all these rules. And there's the true Tom Cruise, guys. There's the Tom Cruise we all know and love when the cameras are rolling. So I just thought I'd hop on here tonight, just kind of take a break from some of the political stuff, at least for now. because in about an hour and 10 minutes, I will be live on the Rudy Giuliani show called Giuliani Live at 9 p.m. Eastern time on WABC Radio. Many of you are wanting the link to that show. And if you want the link to that show, you're going to have to head over to my YouTube channel and you're going to have to subscribe because I have it linked over there. Just head over to my channel, watch this video, which is also streaming live on YouTube. And in the description of this video, you will see the link to my interview in about an hour and 10 minutes. So I want to thank everybody for coming on. It's always good to see you guys. There's a lot of craziness going on, guys, but I'm just kind of letting some of the dust settle before I do my next update because not much has changed. Well, I mean, things have changed in the general direction of what I've been talking about these last few weeks, but just keep a lookout for December 18th. That's all I'm going to tell you. And if that day come and goes without event, then that's another conversation we'll have. But if what's going to happen, what I think is going to happen on December 18th, you have to watch my last video to find out what I was talking about or look at my last post. I want you to do a little bit of the research yourself. That could be a pretty big deal, guys. It could be a pretty big deal. So once again, guys, like, share, comment on this video. Please subscribe to all my social media channels. I thank you guys for coming on tonight, and I will see you in about an hour and 10 minutes on the Rudy Giuliani show where we discuss the events of this election. Take care.